Hi, mathematicians. Welcome to Unit 9, Point Slope Form. This is the last unit we're going to get done before we head into spring break. This is our last form of linear equation that we're going to be talking about. We talked about standard form. We've talked about slope-intercept form. We've talked about direct variation. We've talked about horizontal lines, y equals b. We've talked about vertical lines, x equals a number. And now we're talking about point slope form. And so this is really the one that's pulling it all together. All right. So just a few reminders about what we've talked about before. Standard form, again, is ax plus by equals c. And keeping these rules in mind that we talked about in Unit 8 again when we were translating them. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. All right. So these are the two forms, big forms that we've talked about. So getting into point slope, this is what it looks like. Point slope form is y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. M is your slope, that stays consistent. And x sub 1, y sub 1 is going to be an ordered pair on that line. So for example, if I was going to write an equation in point slope form, I would leave these as blanks as a reminder that that's where my numbers go. I need to fill numbers in for each of these pieces. Okay, so if I use the information that's on the left of the screen, what I'm going to do is substitute in my 5 for x. So that's going to go over here. My 2 for y sub 1, that's going to go right here. And my 1/3 goes right here. All right. So what's written in red is the standard way of writing the pieces. And then the green is what we put into that equation to make it work. Like we put in slope and y-intercept for slope-intercept form. We put in a point and the slope for point slope form. All right. So there we go. All right. So keeping in mind my point slope form, y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. We're going to write an equation in point slope form of the line with a slope of 2 and an ordered pair of 4, 6. So what does that mean? I'm going to take my red and I'm going to write out y minus blank equals blank times the quantity x minus blank. All right. So I have my m right here. That's my slope. This is my x, and this is my y. So I need to fill those pieces in. So my slope is 2. So my slope is going to go right here. My x is 4. So that goes in the x sub 1 spot. And my y sub 1 is 6. So that goes here. So the equation is y minus 6 equals 2 times the quantity x minus 4. And we stop right there. All right. Some students want to do more work with it. Don't. This is it right here. This is your answer. There's no more work to do. This is point slope form. All right. Let's try it again. I'm going to start by writing with red. Y minus blank equals blank times the quantity x minus blank. All right. So here we go. I've got in here the 1/2 is my m, the -3 is my x sub 1, and the 5 is my y sub 1. And I'm going to take those points and I'm going to plug them into this formula. All right. So my slope is 1/2. That goes right here. Y sub 1 is 5. That's going to go right there. And my x sub 1 is -3. All right. And that's your point slope form. Now, some of you might say, can we just add up for that x minus -3? Absolutely. This is the simplified version of that equation. All right. And actually, I'd prefer to see it written this way rather than subtracting a negative simply because it's more open. Okay. That's the only reason why I'd like to see that. Okay. All right, here we go. Next one. Try this again. We're going to write an equation in point slope form. Again, start by writing this down on your paper. Take the time to write it out. All right. Here is my m. Here is my x sub 1. Here is my y sub 1. Right. Here we go. Negative 2/3 is my m. All right. And my x sub 1 is negative 1 and my y sub 2 is negative 2. So I've got y plus 2, because I'm add up, is equal to negative 2/3 times the quantity x plus 1. Either one of these are going to be completely acceptable. Either one of those will be completely acceptable. All right. All right, we just have a couple more that we're going to talk through here, and then we're going to give you some time to work. So in this example, we're going to go the opposite way. We're going to give you the formula or the equation, and we want you to identify the slope in the ordered pair. So for this number 1, we've got m equals negative 4, because it's always the number before x, before the grouping symbol. And my ordered pair, now listen here, this is important. When you're finding your ordered pair, you take the opposite sign in front of the number. So when I look at this, 7 and 6 are my x and my y. It's -7, which means x is positive 7. It's -6, which means that my y is positive 6. All right, so 7, 6 is my ordered pair. Looking at the second one, negative 2/3 is my slope. It's always the number ahead of time, or ahead of the parentheses. Now my ordered pair, I'm going to take the sign opposite in front of them. So it's x plus 9. So my x is negative 9. I take the opposite sign. It's -5. So my y is positive 5. So my y is positive 5. Look at the next one. My slope is always the number in front of the parentheses. So m equals 1/2. And my y, or my ordered pair, I take the sign opposite what's in front of it. So if I have -1, it's positive 1. And if I have +2, it's -2. You take the opposite sign in front of it. And let's look at this last one. All right, so my slope is 3. My ordered pair, hey, wait a minute. Nothing's added to the y. That means it's 0. All right, so my y is 0. And my x, you take the opposite of 4, which is -4. So those are my points. The biggest thing here is for x and y in your ordered pair, take the opposite sign. Take the opposite sign. All right, we're going to write an equation in point slope form, and then we're going to graph it. I'm going to show you how to graph these, right? So my equation, again, I'm going to write it out. This is a great way to get started. So my slope is negative 2/3. So that's going to go, or I'm sorry, negative 3/2. That's going to go here. My x is -2 and my y is 0. There's my equation. Now, here's how you graph it. All right, here's how you graph it. You begin at the ordered pair they give you. All right, you begin at the ordered pair that they give you. All right, so we're going to begin at -2, 0. Okay. Now, from here, we're going to move our slope. It's -3/2. So we're going to count down. Shoot, there we go. We're going to count down 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, put a dot. We're going to go down 1, 2, 3 over 2, put a dot. Down 1, 2, 3 over 2, put a dot. All right. And there's your line. So you begin at your ordered pair. All right. Be at your ordered pair. And this is your slope. This is your slope. All right. Let's try it again. And then you're going to have some time to work on the Schoology activity. Here we go. All right. So again, keep in mind that much of what we're doing is a review. Much of it's review. It's we're building on the knowledge we already have. And that's important to think through this. So we have a slope right here of 1/4. I know it's hard to see it. It's going to be 1/4 and an ordered pair of 3, -2. So I'm going to start by writing y minus something equals my slope times x minus something. So it reminds me how to fill in my blanks. And then I'm going to grab and put in my blanks here. There it is. All right, so -2 is the y, 1/4 is the slope, and then 3, right? So let's take a look. We're going to begin when we graph it at 3, -2. We go over 3, down 2, and from there, the slope is 1/4. We rise 1, we run 4. We rise 1, we run 4. And we slide like this. And that's it. Have fun working on the 9-1 Schoology activity. See ya!